Well, I think the Prime Minister wanted to invoke the
Definitely.
Emergencies Act, and
Definitely.
he needed someone to say, okay, good idea. And we didn't learn until yesterday of the existence of that document. And this is another problem.
Right.
Since leaving the hearing room, we just got served.
Again?
Since you left the hearing room, we just got bombarded again with another large document dump from the federal government, despite the fact that half of their witnesses have already testified. The conduct of the federal government and how the commission is allowing this to happen without consequence and doing nothing to bring fairness back into the process is severely undermining the integrity and the credibility of the commission process and this whole hearing.
Right, because you're not even getting the full scope of the evidence, and you're trying to craft questions, but you can't ask questions if you don't even know what the full story is. As we were there today, you and I saw it firsthand. We're sitting behind Brendan Miller and the Freedom team, and they're getting documents dumped on them. They're getting documents that were suddenly becoming unredacted. And then Brendan Miller's got to fight to re-examine a witness who he's just getting new evidence on while the witness is testifying.
No, it's horrible. The conduct that we've seen is I mean, it really just goes to show people how, gosh, what's the nice way of saying this? There's not a nice way of saying it, actually. But the incompetency of the federal government, 100%.
Oh, I don't think they're incompetent. I think they're conniving.
I'd say arrogance.
Yep.
Evil?
Yeah. Well,
Evil.
that too. But
synonymous.
I say that because they, in the same way that they took advantage and so uncaringly stripped 6 million Canadians of their ability to travel and be with loved ones and have their fundamental right of mobility, how they so quickly made the decision that everyone, if you worked at an airport or in a train station or were a federal subcontractor or a prison guard or a park warden, etc., that you had to be vaccinated without any consideration of, you know, if it's a 21-year-old park worker, the risk of the vaccine is far higher than the risk of COVID. So in the same way that the government's been so cavalier about trampling Canadians' rights, that same cultural approach of this Trudeau government we're seeing manifest in the inquiry process in real time on live TV.
Now, is there any sort of, I don't know, anything you can do about that? Like, does the commissioner know that they're giving you these document dumps on the witness while the witness is testifying? Hardly seems fair.
Well, two things happen. One is a judge in any hearing or proceeding, or a commissioner or a tribunal member, will only keep the respect of the room if they treat the parties with respect. So when a party is completely out of line and the decision maker, the person with the authority, does nothing about it, then there's no point in anybody else being in line. So if the Commissioner Rouleau doesn't do something about this, I think he's going to lose control of the room. That's just sort of a practical human nature thing that happens. And you already started to see flavors of it today with the frustration of the lawyers. But the other thing that normally happens is that the judge, or in this case, a commissioner, says, all right, well, what do we got to do to make this fair? If you're just getting these documents now, normally what they would do is they would adjourn.
Right.
Automatically. It'd be just an instant adjournment.
I've seen this in regular court cases.
All the time. Somebody tries to bring a surprise document. Do you want an adjournment? You got it.
Right.
And there'd be a cost, consequence, and other things. So there'd be an adjournment. And then what would happen is there'd be a rescheduling, and then you'd have an opportunity to re-examine that witness and rely on that documentation. I don't know what he's going to do here. We're in our last week. He's up against a time crunch, but I don't know what he's going to do.
I just think it's so ridiculous. They have entire departments dedicated to getting documents in every ministry.
It's worse than that.
Yeah.
The reason it's worse than that is, of all the parties who knew first
Right.
that they were going to have to gather these documents?
Exactly.
The federal government knew on February 14th.
Right.
Because they know, it says right in Section 63 of the Act, within 60 days of invocation or revocation of it, there's going to be a public inquiry, right?
Which they delayed.
But the point is they knew first about this obligation. They have the largest legal department in Ottawa in terms of law firm. They have endless resources of staff. And so I think it's a combination of tactical to throw us off, to prevent us from having the good stuff, to frustrate us, to muddle us up. And just their sheer arrogance combined with their incompetence.
He's already lost control of the room at that point. And you started to see in the very, very beginning, there was some sort of standard that everyone was setting. People were more respectful, we'll say. There wasn't a lot of objections in the beginning. People were allowed to go. He gave time. I understand that there is a time crunch towards the end of this, but at the same time, you have to equate for the fact that when you have the other half of the room that is receiving all of these documents that no human on this earth can possibly go through, they know these things.
We're watching them read the documents.
Yes, yeah. 100%.
Well, not only that, just to add insult to injury, not that I'm going to get much worse. There's a fair number of the documents that we've been able to go through since I saw you last, seemingly moments ago. They're illegible and they're undated. So we can't make them out. They're screenshots of text messages, but you can't, they're so blurry and pixelated that we can't tell who they're from and who they're to or what they say.
Another incompetency from the federal government.
You just start to feel like they're playing us all for fools, and maybe they're right. I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And they do have endless resources. They have departments of people that all they do is gather documents when you ask for them.
Yeah.
And they've had months and months. They delayed this once. And now while Bill Blair's testifying, you're getting more of his text messages. It's crazy.
It's sick.
It's crazy.
Yeah.